a run streaker. A 2-week commitment to run 10 minutes a day back in 2017 helped him overcome his dislike of running, and it turned into a many year-long daily streak. Hellah turned his everyday commitment into a historical record in 2021 when he became the first Black man to solo run across America. 3,061 miles, 13 states, 84 days, raising over $50,000 for the nonprofit Serve for Souls. Hellah Sidibe. Hellah ran 14 miles, which means by adjacent, I ran 14 miles. Again, raise your hand if you follow Hellah on social media.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support.
Hellah, when did you start sharing your story on social media?
So it was day 163 of the run streak. So it was a little bit over half a year. And so my fiance would come to me in the beginning of the run streak. We should put this on YouTube. This is really cool. I'll be like, yeah. But I didn't really want it to be on social media. So I'll kind of like push the topic away and go away. But finally on day 163, she came to me one day, that day, she said, we should do a YouTube video. And I said, okay, let me go get my haircut first. I have a fresh haircut. And I was hoping by the time I come back from the haircut, she would forget. But when I got back, she had the camera ready. And then we just went and shot a video. And it was why I run every day. Day 163, I stood in front of the camera and explained to our audience that wasn't even existing. This is why I got up to start this run streak, and I kept going. So we posted a video, maybe like 20, 30 views. 2 months later, it had a mini viral moment. So I started getting messages, hey, are you still doing this? Can you update us? So I started doing run update, and then in a natural way, became a YouTuber, and then slowly creep over to Instagram. And I was so vague with it on Instagram. I only put on that day, I had a picture of myself, and it says day 163 with a couple of dots, and it says 202 days to go. I didn't want to explain anything. So it wasn't meant for social media, but I'm so happy that it came to be what it is today.
When you first got started, it was to help you get over your dislike of running. What made you dislike running when you played soccer?
Yeah, so this state has a very special part in this story. I went to the University of Massachusetts, UMass Amherst, and my late coach, may he rest in peace, was saying, you guys might not be the most talented team in the U.S., but you will be the fittest team in the U.S. And he loved the movie Miracle, the hockey movie. And the sprinting that they do on ice, we simulated that on the soccer field. So we would run. We would run so much that the UMass track team would tell us, are you guys the soccer team or the track team? Because we used the track more than they did. So with that, it was used as a form of punishment. One player messes up one band, one sound, everybody has to run. And it got to me. I would get sick to my stomach days before fitness test. There's a thing called Cooper test where you have to run 2 miles under 12 minutes. And if you don't pass it, you can be the star on the team. You're not playing till you pass the fitness test. So you go to Breakfast Club, which is 6 a.m. fitness before 8 a.m. practice. So running became something scary to me. It's not that I couldn't handle the fact that you run in soccer because there's so much going on. You're not thinking of running so slow by itself. So that's what made me get really scared of this thing. And I wanted to give it a chance in 2017 to get over that fear.
Show of hands, who thought they hated running before they started running? Okay, so a lot of people can relate to this. This Cooper test sounds insane.
I still get sick to my stomach thinking about it a little bit.
2 miles under 12 minutes.
Yeah, so it has to be 11:59 at worst.
And you did it?
I was painful. I would
gosh.
yeah, and if you don't get it, you're not playing. You sit on the bench.
So when you started running, like, what was that progression like, going from this place of like fear and doubt?
Yes.
How did you learn to like it? I mean, love it.
So what pushed me to go to running was I was in a state of, I'm not a medical profession, but you're looking at the symptoms. I was in a state of depression. So the soccer dream that I had, signing a professional contract in 2013 with the Seattle Sounders affiliate, Kitsap Lima, all those are getting stripped away. I got a contract offer to go play in Germany. I got denied visa in Boston at the German embassy. They didn't want me to go there. So I got to this point where I was just like, dream number one wasn't working. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And so I was desperate. So being desperate brought me to starting that run streak. And the reason I thought about running, I said, be something that you are afraid of, that you want to try, that you're in control of. Being an athlete, you think about athletic stuff. So I thought about running. I thought about UMass. So I said, there's no coach yelling at me. I'm not with a group. I don't feel judged. I'm going to go out there with my own will. 10 minutes a day. Immediately, because of pressure free, I fell in love with it. And I knew 2 weeks was the goal. 2 weeks was going to go longer than that. And then I went for 365 days, knowing that once I hit 365, I wasn't going to stop. But it was just like, let's go for 365 days.
At what point did 10 minutes become longer than 10 minutes?
It was the first week. Spring was in the air. It was May. I would not look at my watch. I would just start the run and then just like explore a different part of my town. I'll go in cul-de-sacs, going to the park, and I would be lost in my thoughts. I get home, I'll stop the watch. It'll be like, whoa, that was 4 miles. 10 minutes was maybe like the first 3-4 days. And then I started going longer and longer without thinking about time or pace.
At what point did you decide to start running races?
That's crazy because I got convinced by a HellaGood family support to run a half marathon in Yonkers.
As we all do.
He didn't show up. He didn't show up. I was like, are you kidding me? You got to run in a scale run? But my first actual race was a mile race, and I did it for suicide awareness. And I said, I don't want to go put myself through pain because the stuff that people are going through, this is way worse than what I'm going to deal with. So I will do, when I did the half marathon, it was for a family. I think the daughter was terminally ill with cancer. So I did my run dedicated to people. I didn't care about PRs. And I did 2019 New York City Marathon. I had a bib from a friend that got me in a few weeks out. So races were, I did it, but it wasn't about me. And I really started being serious about racing a marathon last year when I prepped for Boston, and I'm doing my second ever prep. But within all that, I did so many challenges for myself, running a marathon every day for a week. I did the New York City subway system challenge, 245 miles, which is the length of the New York City subway system. So I did that 35 miles a day, turned into 245 a week. I ran across America, and I would do these little things, but the seriousness of race literally just got kicked in last year, which I feel like I discovered a new side of running. So it's never getting old to me.
A new side of running meaning like training specifically for a race?
It's not even specifically, like it's like figuring out how much you can push your body. Running feels brand new to me right now again, and I love that. It feels like even though I've been going 7 years coming up on the streak this May, it feels like I just started because of that journey that I'm on now with running, and I love it. I feel like
What are some of the things that you're discovering?
I'm discovering that if you really follow a structured plan, you see results, and it's the best feeling in the world because you can never imagine, oh, how can I hold on this pace for so long? It's a struggle to get there, but once it comes to you, you're just like, wow, it's good to have a coach.
So what stopped you from really staying on a structured plan up until now?
I mean, running is just about how it makes me feel. Running makes me feel invincible. I feel so much joy. And I've never had a day in this run streak where I got up, I didn't want to go out there. I had days where I'm miserable because I'm injured. I go out there running injured. So the fact that makes me not enjoy the process of running makes it not as exciting, but I just feel so whole. When I'm out there, I have conversation with myself. I literally imagine things. I dream, I daydream. It makes the run go quicker, and that makes it that exciting for me. And then now we're coming to this side of it is more of like pushing myself with the potential that I have.
Or anyone who doesn't know what a run streak is, what is a run streak?
So run streak is going out there every single day and running. And I know those, I found out there's like a streak association, which I disagree with a little bit. And their rules is you gotta do a mile a day for it to count as a streak. I said shouldn't be the case, because what if you can't do a mile? What if your capability is 5 minutes and then you gotta stop? So a run streak should be your own rule. If you can run a minute at a time and you have to walk 30 seconds, 2 minutes to continue, I think it counts because everybody has different abilities. So we can't have a strict rule. If you don't hit a mile a day, it doesn't count. How is that fair? How am I going to tell somebody what to do with their capability? And everybody has their own little pace and distance that they can do. So as long as you're getting out there every single day, doing something continuously, that's the run streak to me.
How has run streaking fit into this new training process that you're in, or you're training on a structured plan? I'm sure your coaches like.
Yeah, so after last year, we were trying to dissect why I missed my goal by a minute and 34 seconds. And he said, if you in run streaking, you need to give a day off. So this time I have a day off. So the day off is 2 to 3 miles. And he said, Hellah, you said it, right? You're not going to go over that distance. I said, yes, hold me to it. So tomorrow is my day off. So I'm going 4 miles because usually last prep, my day off would be like 6 to 8 miles. So we're cutting the volume for the day off. So I keep my streak alive, but I'm kind of getting some recovery from all the workout and things.
I love that 4 miles is your day. His long run is 4 miles. Yeah.
It's still 4 miles.
No, of course. So tell me about Rotterdam. That's the marathon that you're training for right now. Like,
yeah,
what?
It's crazy. This is the first time I actually publicly said anything about it. So I'm happy that it's here. No, that's good.
Earlier.
It's here. So whoever heard it here, I'll probably tell on social media, like, way later on. But
Nobody say anything.
Rotterdam is
Safe space.
it was something that I looked at last year when I wasn't sure about Boston because I didn't have a BQ. And so I always had in the back of my mind, it is a fast course, and Boston humbled me. And it wasn't even so much Heartbreak Hill. The last 2 miles, people didn't talk about that so much. Those rolling hills is what was like very humbling. So I told myself, I'll go earn my BQ, but I want something a little faster that's a little more consistent. And I think that's kind of my style of running. I've been running majority of my run streak on flatter surfaces. We live in New Jersey. I go look for hills if I need to do a hill workout. So I'm excited about that.
What's the course in Rotterdam like? It's pancake flat, it sounds like?
I keep hearing that. I don't know until I get there. But sometimes people tell you stuffs are flat and they're not. When I was running across America, I heard Oklahoma is so flat. It wasn't.
Tell me about your run across America.
Yeah, so actually for the part of like being the first Black person is kind of unofficial because there's so many little things, but I guess we can say for sure the first African. But the reason I did a ruling for that title came up about as we're doing this, but the whole thing started because of I wanted to do it for other people. It wasn't about me. When I started this run streak, I started having this much joy and I started feeling guilty about people not feeling the way I feel. And I said, damn, life could be really good. I'm just smiling by myself for no reason. I started asking myself, why are you smiling so much, Hellah? Oh, because I love what I'm doing, which is running. And I said, I want people to find that. So it's always like, I needed to do it for others. And when we run, you see so many things out there. I started seeing people who can't walk, let alone run. People who were amputated by birth, accident, or veteran, whatever it is. And in the back of my mind, I'm running for them. So I got out of the shower one day, and then I went to sit down. I said, I think I want to run across America. And my fiance goes, uh-oh, because she knows anything I said I try to do. And we started talking, why just
shook her head.
We started talking, why do you want to do this? I said, you know what, for something. I don't know what it is. And she helped me find the nonprofit, Souls for Souls. They take unwanted shoes. They're actually here. Yeah, so Souls for Souls are here. They take unwanted shoes you were used and turn into opportunity. And where I grew up in West Africa, having a pair of shoes is life-changing. You would be your whole life, and you have one pair of shoes, and if you don't take care of it, you don't know where your next one is coming from. Sometimes you really take care of the shoes, but you outgrow it. And it was a perfect thing for me to run for, and they help people from first world countries to third world countries. And we decided to pick out a nonprofit, and I did the transcon for them.
How did you figure out the route?
It was out here. I don't know direction. Even this morning when I went running, she was like, when you get out of the hotel, you make a left on Dartmouth, just go straight till you see the river, and then you go on your run. On your way back, look for Hereford Street that'll take you to this convention center. I am so bad with directions.
Me too. I'm sweating right now just hearing this.
She was driving next to me 5 miles an hour for 3,061 miles every single day. Didn't miss a day. And she would get honked at. She would get yelled at. She's on the side of the road. Police call on her every single day. I got the police call on me, but hers was every single day. And she was the navigation. There will be time where in Oklahoma, the straightest place in the country, it was from the panhandle, I was running really straight. And she would tell me, don't turn until you get here. I get closer here, I'll be like, hey, so you call him a bell. That's her nickname for me. Where am I supposed to turn? She's like, I just told you 2 minutes ago. You're supposed to turn on the street. So she helped navigate on a course that was kind of there already. And so, okay, Siri's calling her now.
I out of this, Siri.
So she navigated for me on a course that was previously there, but we ended up putting on a little twist to it toward the end. And so she was my eyes. I was just running. I didn't have to worry about feeding myself. She fed me into content and navigated me. So it was just Hellah, just get out there and run.
What a support system. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. How mentally was that like just hearing about Oklahoma being the straightest place of the year? Like, how many of you have ran marathons or half marathons or races where you have a really long straightaway and you're kind of looking ahead and thinking, oh no, uh-oh, wow, that's very far away. And you kind of, those moments you have to dig deep and stay present and focused and not think about pulling off at the local ice cream store.
So I got food. Anyone here thinks that Arizona is just hot?
Yeah.
Was it just me?
Me.
Okay, I went into this run across America. I think I'm going to be running in a desert. And I get there, it's freezing because we're in northern Arizona. And I was wearing her jacket, a women's jacket that my belly was showing.
Cute.
Yeah, it was so cold over there. So the reason I brought this up, you would go in the RV, it's nice and warm. The alarm rings 5:30 a.m. And the worst part of this is wherever I end my run, so the next day I resume there. So we would have to move the RV to a Walmart or a Dollar General. So sometimes you have to go further up and go back. So when she's driving me to the start line. I want to cry because that car is so warm. The heated seat is on, and I just see how close I'm getting to the start, and I got to get out in this freezing temperature and start my 8 to 12-hour day. And that was the tough part, getting up when you want to be in the RV and enjoy it. Next thing you know, the alarm rings. And I was in the RV getting in and eating it out. And the only time I got there was that 5-hour bedtime, and I couldn't sleep. So that was really tough for me mentally because you get so comfortable and you don't want to leave that comfort, but you have no choice. It's you either go right now or you're going to pay for it and be out there late at night, or you got to get out early so you're not out there late at night. So you got to choose your battle.
I mean, you do have a choice. What made you choose to get out?
It was for soul. And I said, when you have a reason to do something, if it was me and Ego, I probably would have quit. It wasn't about me. Knowing that you're doing it for something, you're just like, I don't want to let them down. I signed up for this. No one's making me do this. So having that in the back of my mind was really a big willpower to keep going.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Did you ever feel pressure in a negative way with so many people watching you do this thing?
No, because I made it clear to myself from day one. I gave myself permission to quit this run streak if I don't feel pressure by anybody, because the whole point about this run streak was to escape this demon that I was dealing with. So if that started being the case, I'll find something else, biking, swimming, whatever it may be. So I told myself, if you get up today, Hellah, you hate running, I'll be the first person to pick up my phone. What's up, my beautiful people? I quit my run streak. It's not a sad day. It's just a smart move for me. So there's not a lot of pressure there, but the fact that I really love it and the fact that I know people appreciate what I do, it makes it sweeter, but I don't feel any pressure at all, because at the end of the day, if you put pressure on yourself, it won't be as enjoyable. So we're trying to enjoy this journey as much as possible.
Who taught you that mindset, that flexibility?
Being raised in West Africa, Mali, a lot of things in America becomes a perspective outlook. So one of the things that I realized going back home, I recently actually just went back last month, you don't miss anything that you don't have. The reason I started comparing is because I saw other things. Being in Africa, in Mali, my country, you will have so much joy and happiness. You don't care about the things that we have here. The only reason you start caring is because you got exposed to it. So I always look back at my best friends, things, everybody that's back home. What is it that they're missing? They're not missing anything on life. So you have that perspective mindset. So anything I really go through, I give myself time. I get away and I talk to myself. I have 10-minute rules when I'm angry or anything. I give myself 10 minutes to deal with it. Sometimes it goes a little longer than 10 minutes. Sometimes it doesn't. So anything that I really go through, I look at my upbringing really helps with that. I look back at home.
When you think about, I want to get to Q&As from all of you. So think about your questions because we're going to get there in a second. When you think about all of the incredible challenges and adventures you've had over the last couple of years, like what are the ones that stand out in your brain as your favorites, or the ones that like shifted your perspective on things?
That's a really tough one.
Sorry.
But the Transcon, that finish there was incredible. How the community shopped the whole time. Since New Mexico, I went through California. I had somebody showed up and run with me. Since New Mexico, I hadn't had a day until I got to New York City that someone didn't come and run with me. There was always somebody there driving hours. So that was really sweet. But I won't say this was my favorite, but this is definitely top. I paced the blind runner New York City Marathon last November, and the joy on his face after accomplishing his time, his goal was to run sub 4, and we got it done. We did 3:52, well under sub 4. That feeling, I couldn't explain it. I didn't care about any accomplishment I did at that point. So it felt really good to help somebody meet their goal. So I think that if I have to just pinpoint one thing, it would be that one. There's no better feeling than helping somebody.
That's amazing. I saw you running.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I was like,
yeah, that was fun.
All right, if we have questions, if you guys don't mind coming up over here, and I'm going to hand you my mic if we can make a line if you have questions for Hellah, maybe a little Q&A action.
Hey, Hellah, great job, man.
Thank you.
Inspiration.
Appreciate it.
You have any thoughts about transitioning to trail running or ultra running?
So I've done a little bit of that. I did, when I was running across America, I wrote audibles, so I was listening to Born to Run, and I heard about Leadville 100, and it says people go test out there if you're a tough ultra runner. So I get to my road looking for internet. I Google this thing, and I'm only 2 states into my transcontinental. I was like, maybe I want to do this one day. So I ran Leadville 100 in 2022, and then that got me to have a qualifying race, and I ran Western States 100 last year. So I did 2 100-mile races, and those are a lot of fun. I love the trails. I love having that breaking up. So I don't call myself technically, I mean, I run on the road majority of the time, but I get a chance to get out on the trail. Whenever I do that, I love it. It's just a different ball game. And the trail is really funny because you would think you're flying at like 6 million miles per hour. You look at your watch, you'll say like 9 something. You're like, oh, so the terrain really teaches you to be a little humble. It's tough, it's technical, but it makes it really fun that you don't care about anything. You're so busy trying to navigate so you don't fall on your face. So I don't run ultra and trail as much, but I'm hoping this year want to do a 100-mile race at the end of the year toward the fall.
If you had to choose between trail and road, what would you choose?
Okay, I mean, you had to do this.
Yeah, pick one.
It is so crazy because the community for both are unreal. But I will tell you something what I noticed in ultra marathon. You would be dying, someone would see you, they're not going to care about if they're going to die later, they'll give you their food. And you see that, like, wait a minute, we have a 100-mile race, or we have a 15-mile thing to do. You'll see me that I need some fuel. We're going to sacrifice your food that you may need later. So I noticed that in the ultra trail community, ultra marathon, that they'll look out so much for everybody. So I can't make an assumption about the marathon, but I think we're so fixated on PRs, you don't even have time to stop and look at somebody that's struggling. They're just like, I gotta go a few seconds, you know. But it's all amazing its own way. I love the road community. I love those trails, so I play the fit.
What advice do you have for people who want to get into trail running and who want to get into road running?
You know what? Do not worry about pace or time. Go out there and then let your body do what it can. And if you feel like you've had enough, stop and walk home and then go back the next day. And if you can just get one extra step in front of you, it'll go a long way, because eventually, no matter what you do in life, anything you do that's not even running, you get better with time and you figure out ways how to navigate. You get smarter with it. So just get out there and try. Don't feel judged by anybody. And my dad said this to me in the past. I'll always remember it. He said to me, Hellah, the dog will always bark. When a dog is happy, they're going to bark. When they're pissed, they're going to bark. So people are always going to have something to say. Just go do your thing. So when you want to do a trail or whatever, just go out there and do your thing. Don't worry about anything, because the dogs will always bark.
I love that. There's a song that has a lyric very similar to that. That's so interesting.
You seem like such a really outgoing person. I wonder how you deal with those long, solitary runs when there's nobody running with you and nobody to talk to.
I love running with people and by myself. If you run next to me and you're like kind of like on the background, you're gonna be like, "Hell, are you crazy?" I talk to myself a lot. I have a lot of conversation with myself, and you might hear if I have music on, I'll probably like try to sing a little bit. It probably sounds awful, but you know, I get lost in conversation with myself that the run goes quick, and I have times where when I'm struggling, you're physically beat up, I try to convince myself, oh, you're fine, you're doing well, you're doing great. Some of the things that I really love doing, daydreaming about my future, what it'll be like. You know, everybody's like living the present. I think that's really important. But it's exciting when you imagine what life could be, and it's like having hope. That little hope makes my run that much enjoyable, and I create different scenarios. Well, if this doesn't go this way, I'm gonna try to go around this way. Still trying to get to that goal, but in a different way. So talking to myself is the thing that keeps me happy when I'm out there by myself, and when I'm with people, even better.
Now that you're training for this marathon, are you having the opportunity to train with a group or with other people to chase, or are you predominantly training solo?
Most of the things are solo, but I have a friend that's in the neighborhood. So her name is Roberta Grauner. She's a Olympian trialist. So she's running next weekend for the Olympic trials. So she is 46 years old, and I can't keep up with her. So I like to run with her when we're doing trainings, and I think she's a 2:29, 2:28 marathoner. That's her PB. But when I go out there, sometimes she has a workout. She'll convince me, Hellah, you can keep up with me, and I try to stick on her heel. That allows me to push myself a little bit. So I've had those times where random runs where somebody's there and helps, or if I know that there's a certain pace I gotta hit, I'll find a friend that's faster than me so I can have them pace me, and I just stand on their heel the whole time. So I have those randomly, but I say 90% of the time the runs are by myself, but those 10% I get somebody to help when I need them.
Now that you're training really specifically for a specific outcome goal, are you noticing any of that old mindset from when you were in soccer and doing the Cooper test and anything like that sneaking in, or are you pretty much like...
No. So last year when I did Boston, I never told anybody what my time goal was. I was like, I'm going to keep it to myself. That allows no pressure to be, right? So I'm not going to tell you exactly my time goal, but this time I'm a little more vocal about it, because I think it's good to say what you want. Who cares if you don't get it? You have nothing to lose. So I'm not getting any of that soccer creepiness, because I'm so excited to see if I can actually do this. And if I can do this, and I feel like it's going to allow me to push my body to a certain degree, we're trying to attempt to do this versus just settling. So it doesn't feel any soccer. I don't feel anything like that. In fact, I get so excited that I can't stop talking about Belle. I call my fiance. She's probably sick of me talking about running all the time, because I'm just excited to see what I can do that day. Today, for example, was a tough workout. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but the fact that I know I'm trying to reach something makes it exciting and it doesn't feel because I signed up for this. You know, when you do it with your own will, it feels a lot better than someone telling you to do it. So I think that makes it not like how soccer used to be.
Are there any skills or tools that you reach for on those like particularly tough days or on days where maybe a specific workout is kind of going sideways?
I trying to lean in on recovery before the run. And then I don't know about any of you guys, I have this special shoe that makes me a little less worried about the run. So I found these shoes that makes me feel that, you know what, worst come to worst is going to give you a little pep in your step to help you a little bit. Maybe it's a placebo effect. I feel like when I put these shoes on, my pace is a little more cleaner and better. Things like that help.
What's the shoe?
It's a Hoka Rocket X2. I love those shoes. And there's a special shoes around the corner too that's even more aggressive. It might be a little too aggressive, but shoes like that helps you mentally, at least.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Hellah? Being from the northeast-ish region, weather can sometimes be an issue for training. Do you ever do treadmill workouts? And if so, how do you maintain your sanity on the treadmill? Give us your secrets.
So since day one, I said, no matter the circumstances, Hellah, you got to get your butt outside. And the reason, and it's different for everybody. So the reason I said no treadmill, so I won't have an excuse to even have the thought of not running. I'm always out there. It could be snowing, it could be raining, it could be really hot. I'll figure out to get out there. You know, the saying is that there's a will, there's a way. It might not be the way that you want, but there's always a way. So I'm always out there. But I've had scenarios where I've run on a treadmill, but it doesn't count for my streak until I get outside. Last year, I faced an injury during the prep, and I went to do my 3-mile warm-up outside, and I jumped on the treadmill to do the 10-mile on the treadmill, and I went outside again to do my 3-mile cool down. So I made sure that the run was done outside. But for me personally, I love the outdoor because treadmill, like you said, 1 mile feel like 5 miles. You always look at the time ticking slope. But when we're outside, it's not that it's even shorter distance, it just feels shorter mentally. We just want to keep practicing. I feel this like rejuvenation of my body, and the only thing that I can see based on my research, less inflammation in my joint, expediting my recovery. So I really depend on that. I feel better, I feel whole, and even though I'm vegan, I do also love my vegan nasty cheeseburgers and pizzas. Sky George back there can attest to that. Whenever we're together, we're trying to, like, Sky, want to go eat some junk food, vegan junk food? I think being vegan really has helped with my recovery. And one of the things that I'm doing for this prep is, even though I am plant-based, I eat plant-based all the time, I'm adding a little more fruit to my regular fruit eating, adding a little more vegetable. So if I have food that comes with vegetable, I want to eat extra vegetable on top of that. I had a bowl of fruit this morning, which I would normally do. I would eat banana with my oatmeal, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get extra fruit on top of that. I'm doing the little things that I didn't really do last year, spending a little more time on recovery. Every day there's some kind of recovery I have to do. Last year I only did recovery if I had a tough workout. So food has been really detrimental to my run streak itself. And people ask, how do you get out there every day? You don't get injured. Of course I get injured, but I do my best to minimize it. But I also believe not having animal in my body really helps with inflammation that allow my recovery to be a little quicker than it would normally probably be if I was eating meat.
Kind of on that is, what is your fuel strategy during your run?
I used to be really bad at this. I'll do it, like today I did 14-mile run. I would not even take anything with me. So I've been disciplined. I'll just take a gel with me. I'll take the gel right before I start my warm up and then keep it at that. If I have to go a little long, like a 20-mile run, I'll make sure there's an extra gel. So I like halfway in, I'll take another one. I've been very mindful with that now and making sure that I don't hydrate the night before a run. I'll try to start hydrating 3 days leading up to it. So you don't just wait to start drinking electrolyte and water. So I think taking food with you is really important because you can be fit, but your body starts breaking down. You need something to keep it steady. So taking a simple gel, putting it in my pocket has been really helpful.
Do you do any cross training? And if so, do you feel like it has improved your running in any way?
Cross training is different for everybody. I do a lot of body weight stuff, a lot of resistance stuff with bands. I used to love lifting weights. When I went to UMass, I would sneak out and lift with the football team because my conditioning coach was the same conditioning coach for the football team. He would be like, Hellah, you're strong, you can do this. So I would go lift heavy. So I was obsessed with weightlifting. So right now, imagine another 20 pounds on me. That's how I was at UMass at one point, lifting. But I try to remember how I felt when I was that strong, but I remind myself you don't need to lift a house to be strong. Strength comes in different forms. And I started cycling a lot toward summer last year. And I love that I feel a lot of power in my leg, like easy being able to push off the ground. So cycling has been helpful, a lot of band, and I do a lot of body weight stuff. In the living room, I just put my yoga mat down, body weight workout about 3 times a week now. So my first year, the run streak ended up being 7 miles average. For the the first 365 days. So right now, the average is still just short of 8 miles a day in coming into 7 years, coming up this May. So I love 7 miles because the first 3 miles are like your body's just getting into the flow. Your heavy breathing is starting to calm down. But that last 4 miles, you just get this nice wind and you want to pick it up. So I love 7 miles. It's like we can go on a 7-mile run. You'll probably take off the first 3. But as soon as I get my fuel in, my body becomes a different kind of person. So I love 7 miles. I know there's some races around, but I think if I have to pick one, to be the perfect race.
What is your recovery routine with such a high volume of running and your strength and all of that?
Anyone watch TV? I watch TV. I can't even pretend. I love my shows. So whenever I'm watching something on Netflix, I throw my foam wheel down. I put my calf on it. Foam wheeling, I was taught in college, you always have to wheel back and forth. I would just find like a tight spot, put my calf on it, put my other leg on to put pressure, and let that just melt, sink in. I have a little glass bowl sitting in the living room right now. I'll take it out, put it underneath my feet. I'm watching TV. I'm just rolling. So recovery, I don't think it needs to be like I have to sit there for an hour. But if you're wasting an hour of your time watching shows like me, you can take advantage of doing something small. Or like sitting here, sometimes you see me do this, it's not that I want to be cool. I'm actually stretching my glutes. Yeah, I literally sit there and I sink deep in there. I'm feeling the stress. I find little ways to take it recovery serious, but also not feeling stressed out about it. Because who wants to really sit there and foam roll for 45 minutes and do all that? But if you're doing something already, just throw a little recovery into it. And if you don't have, I have a recovery boot I use. If you don't have one, you go sit against a wall, you hang your leg up, let the blood come down. When you stand up, it's tingly, but you feel fresh blood coming in and kind of flushing your legs out. So little things like that helps me. I tend to do that more.
What are you watching? Coming back to TV, my favorite audience right now.
This is kind of a weird show for me. I got stuck in it. It's called Manifest on Netflix.
I was an original Manifest watcher.
At the beginning, it was a really good concept, and it's just like, oh, I just have to finish this. So I just started finishing the last season, but I love Ozark. I love Ted Lasso. I'm a soccer guy. Those are fun. So I watch shows like that, and I love sports-inspired documentary, like true story-based themes. I love it as a true story because it makes you realize this can happen. And when you see somebody else's story, I love those kind of shows to watch.
My question has to do with the carbon-plated shoes. What's your thought on that? Are they ethical, not ethical? Do you use it?
I think they're very crucial. I think they help a lot. I really do. And I've had the opportunity for my line of work, being grateful enough to try so many shoes. And there's not one shoe that fits all. I can tell you this shoe is the best, but you might try and be like, this is the absolute worst. So you got to figure out what works for you. But what I found out about carbon-plated shoes, though, they're great, but we have to remember the shoe won't work unless if you work. So you can't put the shoe on and be like, it's going to give me a PB. So you have to pick your leg up and you got to drive your knee for the shoe to react the way it's supposed to, the rocker to do what it is. So in order for that to happen, just focus on the fitness. And then the shoe is just an enhancer. There's people, back in the day, people didn't have carbon shoes. People still running barefoot, crushing me and a marathon PR. So I guess the conclusion is make sure you do the things you need to do, and the shoes is a enhancement, depending on that. If I have a workout, I want to enhance the workout a little bit, but the shoe won't work. Look at Eliud Kipchoge. You give me his shoe, it's not going to make me run like him. It might make me feel good, but you have to work, You look at the Alafino of the world from Hoka, it's not going to make you run like her if you put her shoes on, so you have to work. So just do your part and let the shoe be an enhancer and have it like that. And if you don't have a carbon-plated shoe, you can still run fast. It just helps a little bit more, I think.
How far into your career did you start signing with brands?
You know the saying, it says like it takes about 3 years for things to come into fruition. I think around year 3, and I've had like a small partnership because I have a YouTube channel, so I would have brands reach out and say, hey, can you do a video on this? I think Purple Care was like a food company. That was my first. It was like vegan food prep kind of thing. But Gymshot came in 2019. That was like my longest term, and they were a huge part of me running across America. When I did the New York Subway System Challenge, I reached out to Roadrunner because they were sending me shoes, say, we want you to try this. So I heard about these Hoka Clifton 6, and it's great for ultra marathoning, and I'm doing ultra distance. So I put 105 miles on those shoes in 2020. Since then, I was like, whoa, these shoes are something else. So I just kept wearing Hoka from then. I'll wear other shoes, but it was majority Hoka. And next thing you know, I got somebody to reach out to me. Hey, we want to send you Hoka shoes. I'm like, I don't even know how they found my email address. And then they were sending me shoes that were the same exact color, the same exact pair, a bunch of them, to a point where I'm like, is this going to the wrong place? Because you already sent it to me. They're like, no, we know it's going to you. And then I saw that Hoka was interested, so they became a sponsor of mine. They're my biggest sponsor. I absolutely love the brand. I love the shoes. I love that they allowed me to be me. I don't have to do anything different than I'm doing, so that makes it nice. I don't have to try to sell anybody on that. I just live my life with the shoe. But so it was about 3 years in when I started working with brands, and I had an opportunity with GoPro in 2018, and I have a relationship with them, and it's been lovely. And it's just like every day I'm like, man, what is life? This is my life. So something that never gets old, and I'll never take for granted, because I'm doing what I love every single day, and I get to share that journey with people. But having great brands around, it's been really helpful and nice to get that support.
So wonderful.
Thank you.
What is the content creation side of things like for you? How do you go about sharing what story?
So there's a thing that Belle said this to me. She doesn't like when I talk about her. She said this to me, and it really stick. Share what you do. Don't go do stuff just to share it. Because I think we find on social media now, people just trying to do stuff so they can have something to share or try to get a viral moment. But if you just share what you do, that's always gonna be there because you always do it. So those not gonna be like, ooh, I don't know what to do. I want to post that content. But if you're just doing it on a daily basis, it's easy to share that. So share what you do. Don't do stuff that you share. But I have to be transparent too. Any of my Instagram feed you see, any of my TikToks you see, any of my YouTube videos, I have nothing to do with that. I've never done a thing. The only thing I'm in charge of, you see my Instagram story, I'm fully in charge of that. And even with that, I'm like, hey, Belle, did I make any typo? English is my third language. I want to make sure. So she would like sign off on it. My Strava, I'm not always like in control of my Strava, posting anything I want. But she helps me do all the content, edit them, and put them out there for you guys to see it. So I just run. My part of it is really easy, and it makes life so much easier for me because my whole energy goes into running, and she's like sitting there hours editing for me, and which I'm super grateful for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So does that mean you don't have to see comments?
I see comments, I look at it, I read them, and I like to see what people are saying, and then I'll do my best to respond to them. Yes.
How do you manage it? Good, bad, ugly?
You know what? There's very little bad. And if you see bad, usually it's when your video go viral because people don't know you. So they just assume who you are based on that one video. And I don't react to it. You know the saying, you kill somebody with your kindness. Sometimes people say something really mean and we answer back really nice and they feel bad and they try to like recover from like, well, I didn't mean, I just wanted it. And I'm like, oh, it's all right. You said what you had to say. But you don't take it too hard because they don't know who you are. And when usually people are mean to you, it's probably like a personal issue. You shouldn't take it out on yourself. It has nothing to do with you. So I see some bad, it's random, it's very rare. And you know what? Sometimes maybe there's more than what I see. My eyes just don't look for it. So I try to see the good versus the bad.
Do you ever go back and watch anything from those very early YouTube videos? What's that like?
Sometimes like, man, we thought this was really good. But that's the thing though, it's never going to be perfect. So you just got to do it. You gotta get better with it. So much better with it now. But I'm weird. Have you ever used yourself as a motivation? Anybody? I'm glad it's not only me. I'll go watch a YouTube video. Like I just watched my lashes marathon prep and I just got so hyped. I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to go again. It wasn't like it was anything great, but the fact that you see yourself from another perspective trying, it gets you motivated. So sometimes I go to my old video and just to see what it was like, and then I'll see a random memory come up and I look at them like, wow, this is me. I really did this. And I get another level of motivation and I just go. So I love doing that too.
Last question. Do you think you've changed since starting this run streak in 2017?
Yeah.
And like, what are some of the changes that have transpired for you?
I think we change on a daily basis because life is always different. You know, things happen outside of life and inside of your own life. Personally, a lot of things like COVID happened, so things change. I've changed, but one thing that remained the same, I always have this thing, it's a beautiful pain. Smile through the pain if you're dealing with something, because you always learn something from it. And even though at the time you don't really see it, in a way where like I've changed in a way where I'm trying to evolve and be better. Even me going on this marathon journey because I want to be better in different ways. Because running is one of those things. There's so many things you can do. You can be ultra marathon, but trail ultra marathon. You could do track, you can do road race, you can hike walk. It doesn't matter. So there's always something to do. So I haven't changed completely, but my way of trying to improve myself have changed. The thing that I love that still remains the same is life is great, because if you really look at it, we're spoiled. We really are. It's a privilege being here today, sitting. It's a privilege doing what I do. I know you can't just go look at somebody and say they have it worse than you, because when you're going through pain, you only see your pain. You don't really try to look at somebody else's pain. But I think about somebody will switch their life with me in a second. I just try to enjoy everything that I go through.
I hope we all walk away from this understanding how important mindset is. You're the embodiment of how powerful working on your mindset can be to do incredible things.
Thank you.
Hellah, where can people find you?
I'm all over social media, HellahGood. It wasn't that I was cocky that I said HellahGood. So I got that nickname in college playing soccer. So people will say HellahGood. So when I was making my Instagram, I was like, I should just make it HellahGood. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, HellahGood. I'm on Strava, just Hellah Sidibe. So if you search that, I'm on Strava. So if you're curious to see any of my the run streak, the good, the bad, is publicly on Strava. You can go look at it. So everything is out there for me.
A huge round of applause.